to start with, I just wanted to kind of get an idea from your things how Posh fans see the derby, because I know there's Cambridge as well in this little weird triangle of derbies going on in the region. The Cobblers' main rivals are definitely Posh. There's no doubt about it. How do your fans view this in comparison to Cambridge? And yeah, there's no other teams in the area that we can acknowledge. So that's how in the comparison to Cambridge.
There is a split among our fan base between which is the bigger derby. I am 30 within the next year, and for people my age, maybe another 10 years older, and anyone younger, it's definitely Cambridge that's the bigger rivalry. Cobblers are most definitely a rivalry though, and a serious one. They're both in that zone where we're not a 12 p.m. kickoff, but it could be if things kick off. And some of our younger fans, some of them possibly don't do themselves the best. They're not always in their best behaviour away from home. But if they treat Cobblers the way they treat Cambridge, then this will end up getting moved to a 12 p.m. eventually. Older fans definitely see Cobblers as the biggest derby, 100%. I think it's because Peterborough and Northampton used to be in the same county. I don't know exactly when that changed, but yeah, so it's definitely taken seriously, definitely.
Yeah, so
it's always been that thing, isn't it? It's that age, like you say, it's that age thing when it comes to Peterborough fans. I think whenever I speak to anybody that is, my age or older, so I'm in my late 30s, and therefore anybody that is around about my age or a bit older and above, they're always talking about Cobblers as being the bigger game. But you're right, anyone younger, it's Cambridge. And that all stems from the fact that there were so many years of not playing each other prior to 2000, 99, 2000, I think, was... maybe there was a game before then, I can't remember. But there was like a period when I was really young, early 90s, when Posh were in what is now the Championship. And they were there for ages. So, and we were down in Division 3 or whatever League 2 is now. So there was never really a game. And that first, I suppose, taste of it would have been sort of very late 90s, early 2000s for me. And then because you're about 8 years younger than me, Harry, I don't even know if you'd have been at that game in 2000. So...
No, I don't come from a football supporting family, and I started watching. I love watching football on TV. Asked my parents where's the nearest ground. They said, "Well, Peterborough. It's just down the road." And I started. My first game was in 2006. So yeah, I wouldn't have been there for that. It's funny you mentioned that. It's a little bit of an aside away from the Cobblers thing, but yeah, that long period of not having a game, actually, that happened last season with Cambridge and us. We'd have gone, God knows how long, 20 years maybe without a league game. And it just meant that the atmosphere at both of them was unbelievable. So I can imagine back then, that first game when Cobblers and Posh were back in the same league together, that must have, for the people who were there for that would have easily cemented it as a bigger rivalry, I suspect.
There was one of my first away games, probably the first away game I went to actually was Posh. And it was in the...
That's a baptism of fire, isn't it?
Well, no, yeah, but I'll caveat it with the fact it was in 98, and it was in this period of completely barren times of not playing Posh. We played them in the FA Cup, I think, in 94. In 98, this was the Auto Windscreen Shield, which is now the Pizza Cup. So this would have been sort of regular days now. You'd get 200 or 300 people at one of these matches. Back then, because it was Posh, because it was the first time in years that we packed the away end. We packed I was sat on the side, because we just had we packed the away end for essentially a third-rate competition, and that's how kind of intensely the Cobblers fans would treat Peterborough. I think John Gale might have scored an own goal that day, and we'd lost 2-1. So we won't go into it too much, but it is that kind of sense that it needs that sort of 2 or 3 seasons of playing each other again to get that intensity back. And obviously last time we played Posh, it was lockdown and we had to watch from a screen and sort of go straight back into our lives straight away afterwards. So it wasn't the easiest of derbies to follow or to get into as fans. It's just, there's nothing like the atmosphere though at both games. Slightly sad that the Moyes Terrace is now defunct. and replace both seats because I used to love
Oh
going in there.
no.
What a
Yeah.
place! What a place!
It was horrendous to see away fans just with the waterwork limbs when
Yeah.
when away teams scored, but at the same time, it was worth having it for the atmosphere that it generated. Exactly, we miss it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Any favourite memories between the Cobblers and Posh for you from your side of things?
I mean, I've seen, no disrespect, a few games that we have been on top throughout the game and ended up winning. I've not seen that many pulse. I don't know. I don't think I've seen any where I've been in the stadium pulsating games between us, which is a real shame. And actually, the fact that I hate to bring it up, the fact that Cambridge beat us away was one of those away days that you just it brought you back down to earth, and you realised that it doesn't matter that one team has not had the same level of success as the other. Who shows up on the day and who it matters to more is all that really matters. And I'm sure we'll come on to that when we think about what's going to happen on Saturday. So for me, there was a one that I enjoyed with 2018 where I was in the terrace right behind the goal. We scored 2 goals early on, and then Marriott scored one of them, and that was a good game. I enjoyed that day. I looked back just for a little research for this at that game. Hoskins started that day. I did not realise
Yeah.
he'd been with you that long.
Yeah. Hoskins has been with us since 2016, Charles, is it?
Yeah, he was signed at the start of 2015.
Yeah.
16,
Amazing. Well, that's the sort of player you want to be scoring in the 98th minute, the day 4 days before the derby.
Oh, amazing. Charles, you remember that day, don't you?
Don't say the 2-0. Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to say something else then.
No, the 2-0. You remember that was the bank holiday Monday in April. Posh scored 2, Jack Baldwin and Jack Marriott early
That
on.
was it.
Remember he got sent off, Charles, late on that day?
To be honest with you, I tend to just scrub all them out. I only remember Scott McLeish nutmegging Chaunson Ledger,
what a time.
and Samo being up there for no reason. Those are the only games, apart from a really weird pre-season friendly one year, where it was. I think it was 0-0. I don't think there was even any goals in it, but I just remember going to that game. Not very many people being there and being stood on the Moyes Terrace right behind the goal, right up against the front barrier, and giving Mark Tyler stick the whole way through the game, and him actually enjoying every second of it and giving a little bit back every now and again, and then him even coming over to shake our hands at the end of the game, and of course none of us touched him because we didn't want to. Well, he didn't want to get ill, so therefore, but it was weirdly those are the only games that I remember. Basically, because no other games have ever happened.
No, it blurs into one, doesn't it? It was Ash Taylor, of course, who got sent off that day in 2018.
Of course it was.